first question is 2/5 plus 1/3. Now when we're adding fractions, we want our denominators, so the bottom numbers here, to be the same. And we can do this by either multiplying or dividing. So what number can I multiply the 5 by to give me a value that's also in the 3 times tables? I can multiply it by 3. And as long as I do it to both the top and the bottom, the fraction still stays the same. And then we do the same thing for the 3. We times that by 5. And then we're going to write down what our new fraction is. So 2 times 3 is 6. 5 times 3 is 15, so we have 6/15, add 5 times 1 is 5, and then 3 times 5 is 15. Now we can go across and add these two numbers together. So 6 add 5 is 11, the 15 stays as 15. Okay, so we had 6/15, we're adding on 5/15, and we're left with 11/15. So let's try another question. I have 1/2 add 3/5, and we're going to do the same method as we did before. So we need to think to ourselves, what can I multiply these two bottom numbers by to make them the same? So we can times the 2 by 5, we have to make sure to do it on the top, and we can times the 5 by 2. So if we work through this, 1 times 5 is 5, 2 times 5 is 10. Then we're adding on 3 times 2 is 6, 5 times 2 is 10. Now we can add straight across, do 5 add 6, which gives me 11, and the 10 stays the same. So the final answer is 11/10, or if you want to convert it into a mixed number, then we have, so it's 1 and 1/10. If you need to learn how to change fractions into mixed numbers, then check out my other video. I will show you how to do that. Our next question, we are going to do 1/4 plus 2/3. And we're going to follow the same method. So we're going to multiply the denominator by a number to make both bottom numbers the same. So 4 times 3 is the same as 3 times 4. We just have to make sure to do the same thing on the top. So now we're going to work out these multiplications. So 1 times 3 is 3, 4 times 3 is 12, 2 times 4 is 8, 3 times 4 is 12. And now adding straight across, we're going to do 3 add 8, which gives me 11, and the bottom number stays the same. So we have 11/12. Now, moving on to the next examples, we're going to be looking at how to subtract fractions. So our first question is going to be 3/4 take away 1/3. Now again, just like addition, I need to make sure that the denominators are the same. So I'm going to times this by 3 on the top and the bottom, times this by 4. Now working out the multiplications, I've got 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 3 is 12, take away 1 times 4 is 4, and then 3 times 4 is 12. So now I can work out 9 take away 4. 9 take away 4 is 5, and the 12 stays the same. So the final answer is 5/12. For the next question, we have got 4/5 take away 1/4. Again, we're going to make sure our denominators are the same, and if they're not, we're going to convert it. So we can times this one by 4 and this one by 5. Now you might have noticed by now that the easiest way to find the same number on the bottom is just to times the denominator by the denominator of the other fraction. So for example, this fraction here, I'm going to times it by this denominator. This fraction, I'm going to times it by this denominator. So now if we work this out, we've got 4 times 4 is 16, 5 times 4 is 20, and then we're taking away 1 times 5 is 5, and then 4 times 5 is 20. And now we can subtract straight across. So we're going to do 16, take away 5, which gives me 11. And again, the 20 stays the same. So the final answer is 11 over 20. For the next example, we're going to work out 5/7, take away a half. And again, we're going to make our denominators the same. So times this by 2, times this by 7. 5 times 2 is 10, 7 times 2 is 14, 1 times 7 is 7, 2 times 7 is 14. So 10 take away 7 is 3, and 14 on the bottom. So we have 3/14. Now, for the last set of questions, we're going to be looking at how to add and subtract fractions, but where we have mixed numbers. 2 2/3, add 1 1/4. Now, the easiest way to do this is to convert the mixed number into a top-heavy fraction. So if you don't know how to do this, then check out my other videos where I go through how to change a mixed number into an improper fraction. I'm just going to go through it quickly. The easiest way to do it, we multiply these numbers together and then we add on to this 2 here at the top. So working this out, we have got 3 times 2 is 6, add on the 2 is 8. So my first fraction is going to be 8 over 3 plus, and we're going to do the same thing here, 4 times 1 is 4, add on the 1 gives me 5. So we have 5/4, so we've got 8 over 3, add 5 over 4. Now we're going to follow the steps that we did before. So I'm going to make my denominators the same. And then we're going to work it out. So we have got 8 times 4 is 32. 3 times 4 is 12. 5 times 3 is 15. And then 4 times 3 is 12. Now adding these two together gives me 47 over 12. You can either leave it like that or you can write it back into a mixed number. So we need to think how many 12s go into 47. Now it's going to be 3 or 11 left over. Okay, so the final answer is 3 11/12. So for the next example, so I've got 4 2/5, take away 1 3/4. Again, we're going to convert these into top-heavy fractions. So I'm going to times on the bottom, and then I'm going to add on the top. So 4 times 5 is 20, add the 2 is 22. So it's 22 over 5, take away, now we're going to do the same thing here, times on the bottom, add on the top. So 4 times 1 is 4, add the 3 is 7. Now we need to make the denominators the same. So I'm going to multiply this fraction by 4 and this fraction by 5. Now 22 times 4 is 88, 5 times 4 is 20, 7 times 5 is 35, 4 times 5 is 20. Now working this out, so 88 take away 35 is 53 over 20. We can write this as a mixed number. So how many 20s go into 53? We've got 20, 40, so that's 2. But we've only gone up to 40, so we have 13 left over. So it's 2 13/20. Let's do a final example. So we have 2 3/7. Take away 1 1/4. The first thing we need to do is convert it into a mixed number. 7 times 2 is 14, add on the 3 is 17. So 17 over 7, take away. 4 times 1 is 4, add on the 1 is 5. So take away 5 over 4. Now converting this to have the same denominator, I need to multiply this fraction by 4 and this fraction by 7. 17 times 4 is 68. 7 times 4 is 28. 5 times 7 is 35. 4 times 7 is 28. Now I can subtract the two top numbers. So 68 take away 35 is going to give me 33. And it's all over 28. Now I can write this as a mixed number. How many 28s go into 33? We have 1. And then how much is left over? 28 to 33 leaves me with 5. So we have 5 over 28. So it's 1 and 5 28ths.